Welcome back to Doodling with Purpose, Learning to Write Hieroglyphics, Lesson 2. Like with all the lessons, we are going to learn 3 new hieroglyphs and how to write them. This is a course on writing hieroglyphics. We're not going to go that much into reading them, at least not yet, but there is one aspect about reading hieroglyphics that we do need to go over in the beginning, and that has to do actually with drawing them and the way they're going to be drawn and the way you're going to see them drawn. So essentially, hieroglyphics can be drawn going to the right. They can also be drawn going to the left. In fact, hieroglyphics can be drawn going both ways. It's important to know this because you're going to see hieroglyphs, the ones you already know, like the bird from last time. You will see it looking to the right, and you will see it the same exact glyph also looking to the left. The reason for this is it tells you what direction to read the glyphs. So if you see the bird looking to the left, that's where you're going to start reading, left to right. If you see the bird or any other animal looking to the right, you'll read from right to left. It's basically your visual tool to tell you what direction to start reading from. This was all done because hieroglyphs were on walls and they needed to be very economical. Sometimes the wall had more room to the left or to the right. In fact, they can even be read up and down. Hieroglyphs can be read left to right to left, up and down, but not backwards and through time. Got it? Okay, so before we get into writing our new glyphs for this week, I want to do a quick review of last week's. It's very important to, if you will, practice over and over again so that you can learn them and again do it slowly. That's why we're doing 3 glyphs per week. But just because we're doing 3 glyphs this week doesn't mean you shouldn't also be practicing the 3 from last week. So let's do a quick refresh. All right, so first we have the bird, starting with the beak, then the main body, then the front leg, back of the head, back of the body, and up for the wing, bottom, something to stand on, and an eye to see. That's A. Next, we have A in the back of the throat, the hand, hands up, triangle down. And finally, we have B, which is a foot, down, around, and back up. All right, that was last week's glyphs. This week, we're going to get into 3 new glyphs. And again, as a reminder, all the glyphs are sounds, just like our alphabet. Just think of them as more complicated than an A and a B. Instead of letters, you're writing pictures for letters. So the next one is the letter D, which is a hand. Well, I've got to give you a hand doing this. But how does it look? Well, not this hand, but this hand. There's 2 different ways it's drawn. Sometimes when you see the fingers, and sometimes the letter D is simplified without the fingers and looks a bit more like a mitten. We're going to focus on the more finger version for today, but I wanted to make sure you saw both kinds so you could understand and see them. All right, to do the hand, we start with the thumb, go around, then in for each finger, and you're done. Once again, starting with the thumb, back, around to the front, and the fingers. And that's it. That's how you draw the letter D. Okay, the next couple glyphs are about snakes. So if you don't like snakes, well, you're just going to have to bear through it because there's 2 different snakes and we're going to hit them right in a row. Not these snakes, this snake. So the first snake is the J sound. Not quite the letter J. It's a bit more like the French when you say the number 2, de. So it's like the J in French. So it's not a true J, it's much more of a J, a D and a J together. All right, so let's take a look at how we write that one. Now, as I mentioned before, Hieroglyphs are a very Egyptian language. So the snakes that are drawn are very Egyptian snakes. It's really a celebration of that country and its heritage. All right, so here's how to draw the first snake. Start with the head and move down. Start with the head, turn, and move down. It's actually a pretty simple glyph. And that is really your first snake glyph. Your second one is honestly just as simple. And if you can handle snakes, you can handle writing this one. So the F, the proper F, is a horned viper, which actually is a real animal. He's kind of spooky looking, but as I said, it's a very Egyptian alphabet or letter glyph because these are vipers that are seen in the Egyptian desert that have horns and actually almost kind of look like dragons. So, all right, drawing the horned viper for the letter F, also pretty simple. Start with the head, and then a squiggle for the body, horns, and that's it. Head, squiggle for the body, and horns. One more time. Squiggle for the body, and horns. And you can even give him a little eye if you want, a little personality. All right, that's 2 more letters down. And the good news is we are done with snakes. So if you like your Indiana Jones back there and you don't care for this little slithering friends, no more, we're done with them. But we got a lot of birds to go. So if you're a bird fan, you're going to love hieroglyphics. All right, so that was our 3 new glyphs for today. Remember to be patient. Learning all of the glyphs like Champollion and getting to read the Rosetta Stone is going to take time. And remember, we need to practice not just this week's glyphs, but last week's. So don't forget to practice your bird for the letter A. Don't forget to practice your hand for sort of that A in the back of the throat. And lastly, your foot for the letter B. You now know 6 glyphs and are on your way to all 150. And hey, in time, you too can take a look at that Rosetta Stone and figure out all of its hidden secrets. Until next time, this has been Doodling with Purpose, learning hieroglyphics.